Order.
Who's watching? Someone is watching.
Hello. Okay, I think I can hear you. Everybody, my friends here. Hello, hello. Do you guys want to come to the front? Can anybody hear me? You guys want to come here? This side? I mean, you can still talk, but behind me, I'll have a problem. So, okay, there are a couple of ideas. And I want the democracy at work here from the crowd. You must be really tired, right?
Yeah.
Are you in the mood to kind of listen to your talk at this time? I'm okay not giving the talk. I don't have to. I just came here to just meet all of you and have some interaction. So we can. There are two things we can do. One is that I have some 20 slides. I can run through them like 2 slides a minute in 10 minutes if you want. And talk very very fast, and then we can open up for questions. That is one option. Second thing is I can check the slides and we can just have conversation. What do you guys prefer? Just conversations? Okay, super. Fantastic. There are lots of mistakes in these slides, so that is nothing. So what I want to do is that one of the things we do in many events is this thing called the unconference time. Do you have anybody been to any unconference sessions anywhere? You guys know what an unconference is?
Yes.
I have more people here on this side than in front of me. So unconference is one of those things where, now it is the scary part. The unconference is one of those things where the speaker doesn't really speak. It is the audience who speak. And the speaker's job is to just take the mic and give it to the audience. You guys ready for it?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, good. I was just kidding. I will speak. It's very difficult for me not to speak. But I'll try to speak a little less. So today's topic is, and I'll give you all these slides so you can just read them and you'll understand what I'm talking about. I want to talk about originally the trends, the opportunities, and the challenges in the IoT space, which is a very broad subject. And I researched and copied lots of images from various portions of the web and put it all into one PDF. Since we won't have that, you are going to tell me the challenges and stuff like that. I watched a little bit live, and I part of a very short Balaji session, and then some other talk on startups from Ravi Shankar and all that sort of stuff. So let me first do a little bit of survey. How many of you are students? Okay, maybe the question is, how many of you are not students? Okay, decent, pretty good. All right. I was not able to figure out whether I should raise my hand or put my hand. I'm still a student, at least at heart, but not the kind of student that colleges expect. So it's good to see all of you here, and I'm glad that there's a mixture. So we should make it interesting enough for both the parties so that students get something out of it, and people who are also not students, whatever they are, they also get something out of it. So the way a conference session works is like this. Somebody raises a hand, asks a question. Anybody in the crowd can answer the question. And my job is to just run between them with a mic. And occasionally I'll grab the mic and I'll interrupt. If anybody gives a long speech, I'll come to them and grab the mic anyway. So you're supposed to ask a short question and give a very short answer. People are ready for that?
Yes.
Okay, who wants to go with the first question?
Hi, my name is Suresh Kumar. I'm part of IoT Geeks. I was attending this kind of workshop for last 4 or 5 sessions. So I'm basically from the agriculture background, and I know I was involved in other social activities also, like RTA. So I know how the farmers has been uh, using the farmers, so how other people's either from the government or so government officials, so how they get the things, many things. So really, the agriculture, I mean, the farmers are not getting benefit. So I was thought of doing some agriculture IoT where take a micro irrigation. In perspective of farmers, they don't have any control. So even from the subsidy, so whatever the government says, yeah, we'll pay and we'll get, but that not really beneficial to the customer. And I don't have any control on whatever the system implemented. So I just want to move something on the IoT. So anyone has any ideas? So anyone thought of doing that?
Anybody wants to raise their hands? Micro irrigation, helping farmers with IoT. That's a great start. It's a nice segue. Anybody has ideas? You would have seen some YouTube videos and all. It doesn't have to be your original idea. Nobody wants to take a shot at it? Good. I thought this unconference will fail at the first step.
I am thinking of working on a precision agriculture. So I'm planning to put it on a Texas Instruments competition, which is going to be a startup initiative by Government of India, and I am Bangalore and Texas Instruments. So I'm planning to make a project on agriculture based one.
Cool. Can you tell us a little bit about precision agriculture?
Precision agriculture is what are the nutrients which is actually required by the crops are identified by knowing the factors such as water itself has major nutrients which is required by the crop. So you should calculate the water parameter and the soil parameter and what the crop required, so that you can fertilize the crop in effective way without making over fertilizing, etc. It's about precision agriculture. Great. Actually, Santosh.
Santosh, are you a student?
Yeah.
Which college?
RMK engineering.
RMK. Awesome. Does that help? That's first step. So you connect with Santosh and you guys start a business?
No.
Okay. No. Okay.
That agriculture should not be a business.
Okay. Some NGO or something. Okay. Good answer. Anybody else?
How do you actually sense the parameters of the water? Like you have some sensors. I just want to know.
pH sensor is the major one.
pH
pH.
sensor. Anything else for the nutrients? Like you said, different nutrients.
Yeah, it's called as nitrogen is major concept. We cannot measure it separately. We should measure with some other parameter. That will be the breakthrough in agriculture project. You cannot measure every individual nutrients alone. You can measure it as a part of a combination of three nutrients, I guess, nitrogen and phosphorus, N, P, and they will abbreviate in such a way. NPK. And they will abbreviate as NPK. You cannot individually measure each and everything. You can measure it as a whole, NPK value. If you can make it as a part NPK separately, that's the breakthrough in agriculture field, I guess.
So I thought you had a question.
I just want to know how our sensors you would use.
Anybody else? Is a question? Yeah.
Okay. I just want to know like how is it different from what's the process they are following now using IoT. So currently we know like before when farmer start his agriculture or starts this thing, they do land testing like get some samples, go through labs, identify what are the nutrients or is it eligible for farming. So all those tests will be done and through government approved companies or labs, and only after that they will start farming or they will even start of thinking of farming there. So that's the current process now. So how will the IoT or concept which you are saying is different from what is being followed? Like how will it improve the process?
I'll get you the mic.
I think IoT is a periodical monitoring. What you are saying is about monitoring before 2 or 3 months and continues the process for a whole crop cycle. But IoT you will monitor every periodically. For example, you are saying you are measuring the soil parameters alone. But in my study, what I came to know is It's not about the soil parameters alone. If you are mixing a nitrogen fertilizer into that, the water has a major consequence of some of the chemicals which is required by the crop. The water parameters changes periodically. So the main thing is not about the soil; it's all about water too. So water should be periodically monitored. And I came across a software which is already available, but you have to manually input the data into the software so that it will fetch you the data how the nitrogen or how much fertilizers to be fed to the crops. But I want to automate that too. For example, the water parameters, the atmospheric conditions, and the future predictions of rainfalls and the soil. All this combined using a data analytics. Data analytics is a major part which will improve. For example, you are trying some new fertilizer, new crop variety, but you are not able to get proper output. But in data analytics of other performers, you can improve your farming too. For example, we are implanting our sensors in two forms, different forms. One farmer is getting good quality crops, but another is not getting. So you can get the data from what the other farmer used, so that you can imply newer form, so that you can improve your efficiency. That can be also given as a suggestion by using periodic data analysis.
So how about considering the triple forming in this?
I can get you.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. It's just. It's okay. Just repeat it. You heard about the drip forming, right?
Yeah.
So
Micro-irrigation.
will that?
Micro-irrigation.
Yes. So are you like before selling like it's different for each and every type of crop we are trying to like. So for paddy or for rice, we just need to flood the whole farm area with the same water. So what I understood from your precision farming is that we'll be trying to guess like for each and every section of the plant, what is the nutrient that's being in abundance and what is not there, so that you can apply a particular type of fertilizer only to patch. So is it like connected to the drip farming, or is it like applies for all the crops throughout the field?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, you are correct. For example, I have seen one farm which is about wine farming. They are getting some grapes or some kind of thing in. I don't remember the place correctly. It's of many acres they are planting. So the even the pesticides for not the fertilizers, pesticide, the insects which infecting the plant will be different for if you are considering a multiple acres. So they are even getting some kind of sensors. I'm not more into that sensor. That sensor which sends the amount of reflection of sunlight from the crops. Based on that, they are even finding which insect is infecting that particular plant. So they are fixing some sensor in every plant which get the reflection of light from the plant. So these kind of things can be analyzed for individual plant too. So you can have a. I think I don't know. I have visited a farm called a Future Farm. In that they are feeding the particular row with a particular amount of nutrients. So you can have an individual care too.
Okay, it's like
One question, I saw a couple of drip forms, but there's no feedback loop in them, right?
Yeah.
So drip forms do not have a feedback loop in them. They give certain, so they don't take care of weather conditions. If it rains, it's all done by human beings kind of stuff. So maybe one first step, one minor improvement could be to provide a feedback loop by sensing the moisture and then providing feedback. It's not the precision farming that he was talking about, just a thought process. And because I've seen some projects where the students do this for home gardens. In fact, there is one of the colleges where this guy manufactured a bunch of these units and started selling at home. And the idea is that when you go away for a week or something on vacation, the plants don't die because they get enough. And if it rains, of course, it shuts off, and you can control it. It's a variation. It's a drip forming kind of thing, but it's the feedback loop of moisture sensors. My question in this entire farming thing has always been: if there are acres of land, how many sensors do you need? How do you gather all this data? Why do you direct the flows and all that stuff? Anyway, Good. I think that's a pretty good discussion. Thanks for participating. Next question. Very different ones. Anybody else wants? Hey, if you don't have questions, I have a lot of questions.
So I have a question from here. If somebody here is having an experience of taking a prototype to a production level, I suppose a lot of people are having these ideas, and I would like to know from here from someone who has actually taken this prototype to a mass production level.
Balaji? You want to take a shot?
Products, not hardware, will not take it to the market.
Okay. All right. So there are 2-3 units, and this is a big problem today. I don't even want to go to mass production. Let us take you build up, and then you want to take it to the next level where you want to manufacture like 10 units and field test them with customers. Who is going to do it? This guy has to keep on wiring all this 10, and the quality is not going to be exactly the same. So there are a couple of organizations. The one I have seen is there is one called NTTF, NATO Technical Training Facility, in actually the Bangalore unit. One of the associate directors was my classmate. So I got a tour of this place, and they manufacture small units like hundreds of units or thousands of units. They do it, for example, for Hyundai. At the time when I went there, like a small new circuit board, they just want to manufacture 1,000 and field test it on a few cars, kind of thing. So there is one organization like that. But I think this is going to be the ones that I know. People who are working on some medical electronics things, they actually do send it to China for getting it done. I don't know of any infrastructure that exists today, but I think that's worth finding out because we're also trying to, in a couple of colleges I'm involved in, we're trying to productionize small products that are built, but small number of units, 10, 20 units kind of thing, and no facilities exist that I know. Because especially for these multidisciplinary ones, it's not like just mechanical or electrical or electronics or so there isn't one lab where you can go get all these things done, assemble them together for doing it. So Balaji, you said you do it for software?
I did for software, but I have not done it for hardware.
Okay. So what is the productionizing process of software look like?
So as I mentioned, so I've not done it for hardware, so take it with a grain of salt. So for software, so I've been involved in taking ideas both with larger companies like with Microsoft, as well as outside, taking ideas and bringing it to market. The key thing is the first and most important thing is the business model part. We primarily forget about the whole business model canvas. The business model canvas is a good tool whether you are talking about hardware or software. How do you productize something? So the productizing something like so this is, don't just see it as a marketing or business tool. It is a something very helpful in the looking through the whole product. So the business model canvas is divided of 9 units, and it goes into how like where the value proposition is and where the cost structures are, what kind of partners you can produce and so on. So that is the first step in productizing and innovation. So you start identifying what kind of customers you are going to go after, whether they have the scale, what kind of cost structures are going after, what kind of revenue models are you going after, because unless you have these you cannot productize anything. So the next step it goes into is the user experience part. So if you're talking about the software productizing, then you're talking about the UX. If you're talking about the hardware productizing, you're talking about the industrial ID part of it. So that is going into how the user first encounters this product and then eventually goes on to into building the product. So that so those are the fundamental principles. Then we go into actual the whole stream of product management principles, where you go and build it iteratively. And if you start with post the prototype, you are going to take off the small thing, say MVP for your product. We are talking about hardware or software. The MVP you are going to take to the customer, going to start getting feedback. You can get the start of 2 customers, start getting feedback on it, and then start iterating on it, and each time thinking about where you can start scaling, what parts of things others can do. So that is pretty critical.
Actually, that's a very, I think, very good point. And I know that there was a that session, I think, was it Ravi Shankar who was showing the business model canvas?
Yes.
So one of the things I do whenever a startup comes to me and said, I have this idea and I'm building this product, first thing I ask them is, do you know business model canvas? I actually use Lean Canvas, which is, Ash Maurya's variation of the business model canvas. And I don't necessarily think about it as a business planning tool or business plan, but I think about it more as a thinking tool. And there are 9 slots, as Balaji was saying. But to me, the most important are the first 4 slots. Number 1 is, who is your customer? You already know what your idea is, our customer segment. How are you? What are they doing today without your product? How will their life be different once you have your product? How are you going to reach them? Can you reach them in a scale? Do you have to physically visit every one of them? Then your business has a different set of problems. And then, so that is, what are the channels through which you reach them? You start out with these things, and then you can go to the next step. And there are a lot of places where they run these business model canvas classes. But you can also do it as like a sprint, like 4 or 5 can get together and then like brainstorm each other's. And I think it's a great thinking tool. And it will keep on changing. For every type of customer, you need to have one of these kinds of things. That's pretty good. And that's needed for everything, whether you build a hardware product. The MVP is basically acronym for minimum viable product. When you build a product, you make some assumptions. You think that my customers are going to pay me money for this one. And let's say that somebody was talking about a child tracker, right? You put a band on your child, and wherever the child is, that you are able to track so that you're not worried all the time when they're gone. Will people pay? So how do you do that? You can go and say, I'll give a child tracker, will you buy it? And everybody is going to say, yeah, we're going to buy it. So how much will it cost? And then say 200 rupees or 5,000 rupees or whatever, some number. And then they'll say, no, that is too much. 500 rupees I can pay, kind of thing. So you already started taking some of your assumptions and validating that kind of stuff. Then when you produce the band, you give it to people, they just use it, use it for a month and let me know whether you like it. And if you can keep it after that, and you pay me this much of money, and that is the validation. So I think you have to go through these steps when you're building a business, whether it's a software product or hardware product or anything like that. Hardware product is slightly more expensive because you have to make these units and give it to people, and they have to work. Software product is a little bit easier. Web products is even easier because you just put it up and people take it and then use it. Any other questions?
Suppose if we developed some product, how to get, if you develop around 100 piece we sell for the market, we need a certification for in our local market. So we sell any product, so need any certification for government legal process.
Everybody knows the answer to this. I'm going to guess. I don't know the exact answer, but I think I'm going to guess. If you're field testing units, I don't think you need to worry about it. But if you're actually commercializing it to sale, then you have to pay sales tax. You need to register business, and yeah.
Product quality, any certification.
What is this, like medical electronics or something like that? What will it cause a short circuit in the house? Does it have any impact that any damages anything? No. It's just a sensing mechanism. A few units you should be able to distribute without doing anything. After that, best thing is I can introduce it to your lawyer. They'll tell you exactly what the rules are for doing these kinds of things. There are certain classes that we can't launch. Anything to do with medical, there are 10 different agencies you need to register. Actually, one of the slides there is called IoMT. It's called Internet of Medical Things. And there they talked about at least 4 agencies they had to get certification before they could even launch the first prototype. Kind of stuff. But if you're like, say, college attendance, you want to put an RFID tag in everybody's badge and see whether the student is in class or not. Those kinds of things you may not have a thing, but you can always do a pilot for those kinds. They'll say, radiation and all that kind of. But I can get you some references. You want to talk about it?
Actually, my professor Ramasamy sir was working on a project in medical electronics, but idea is part of idea was his own, but he's working on a medical electronics project, so he was not able to get that certification. So he has approached someone who is from Australia, Australian University, who was helping in another part of that work, and so he approached them for certification from there. So the agreement was in a such a way that they should get certificate on their name. After that, it will be
Easier to get it here.
here. So what happened is finally they have cheated my professor and stole her homework. So why the medical electronics field getting certification in India is that harder. They for even for testing it on patients, they are not allowing in India very easily. What is the problem in that medical certification, medical electronics field? And my professor said that Philips is a major role in medical electronics. They will not allow to be getting certified your own product here. They have major role in government, it seems.
Yeah. I'll try to answer, but I think Balaji has some answer.
Partial answer. So you also check with the Bureau of Indian Standards. So there is a BIS. So they have ISA mark from them. For many categories, it's a mandatory one. For like, so I just check there are 90 categories, whereas ISA is a mandatory one. For like, for instance, you're selling helmets or any kind of those devices. So the ISA is required, and in others it is recommended, but it's not fully enforced. So you have to check in the BIS, the Bureau of Indian Standards, to whether what you are making is actually there. So many of the IoT devices do not necessarily come in that. But if there's anything to do with the industrial products, then the BIS is the first place to look at.
I think medical is difficult everywhere in the world. US it's a nightmare. One of the reasons why the drugs cost so much of money is that like there are lots of tests they have to do, a series of tests, and they go. So that's why the investment in that industry is in the billions of dollars, not millions of dollars. And very all the compounds that they test and all that, very expensive because of the field test. They have to first test it on mice, then on monkeys. Human being test takes much
It's
longer.
not medical. It's about inpatient monitoring.
Okay, so even monitoring, so I don't know with things like inpatient monitoring kind of stuff, why there should be such a thing, but anything you put in a hospital, somebody is liable. And if something malfunctions, let's take a very simple example. Let's say that I have a home security system. I buy it, I'll install it in home, and I guarantee that anytime somebody opens one of these doors or windows or breaks into it, it's going to send out an alarm and send SMS messages to some police station and your nearest neighbor and all that. Let's say that the GSM modem comes out and it doesn't send out any messages. Okay? That company is liable. They have taken insurance. They say everything that is stolen in the house, they have to kind of replenish kind of thing, right? It's a normal business practice that something like this happens. So almost everything has some liability associated with it. The levels are very different. And then people get more and more touchy with something to do with the human being, either monitoring or like feedback kind of thing. And also that's one of the reasons why these drug companies have so much money invested in these kinds of things. And so it's very difficult. In college, you can do it as a part of research unit. But there also they have to get a permission, and all the volunteers who are going to subject themselves have to sign saying that if I die, nobody can be sued or something like that. They're really strict things in there. So that is but I don't know, this RFID thing should be fairly simple. We talked about it for library management system and for attendance systems and all that. So I don't know what it is. But what I'll do is, somebody called me to this. I'll talk to this lawyer that I know, and I'll get an answer, and I'll post it in the IoT Geeks Facebook page. Give me some time, a week or two, and
So
then
data protection thing also, so that is why the medical monitoring getting to an issue. In the US, it's even more the data privacy and data protection. India also has a privacy policy, national privacy policy is there. So data protection, that will some of the IoT issues will come under data protection.
yeah.
So
I think the biggest problem in IoT, the biggest challenge is security. So in lots of different types of data. Next question. When can we go home? Any other questions? That's it?
Yeah, I have two things to do. So recently, the Indian government the excise has increased the limit for the import duties. So till 50,000 there will not be any duty, and if you do a charge, so try to climb it back. So earlier it was 2,000 rupees. So whatever the device you need for IoT and other stuff, still you can get the product till 50,000, which includes cost of the product, insurance, and freight charges. Maximum 50,000.
50 on
50,000. 50.
Okay.
So earlier it was 2,000 rupees. So anything you get above 2,000. So whatever the class CTH code something is there, so you'll be charged accordingly till I think it's 40, 50. Someone told that I was charged 200%. Now they had increased the limit till 50,000. And if you need, there is a circular available. If you just try to browse it, you will get that, and you have to climb back the amount. And another thing is, currently I'm planning to implement solar in my native town. It's for domestic purpose, so I'm planning to convert into a smart IoT. I'm working on that, but still it is not implemented. So if anyone has ideas, so anyone try to give some ideas, so just let me know. So something like a smart means I don't have any control, right? So how much volt it generates, so how much amps, so what's my battery voltage, so how much it's going to long last, so per year, so how much power it has generated from solar, so how much something has been replaced from my grid. So these are things plan to do it. But let's see. Thanks.
Okay, I think we're going to close down because 5 o'clock you're going to do the wrap up kind of stuff. So one thing you can do is you have a question. Okay, so one thing that you can do is you're active on the Facebook group. There is a Twitter account. You can shoot a question. Somebody will try to answer it. If not, we'll try to find answers. The second thing is that I invite you to start, if possible, subgroups of IoT geeks, like IoT for medical or for agriculture and that kind of thing. Because not everybody may be interested in it, but it may be quite nice to have these subgroups, and they can all come back and present during this kind of thing. So we'll take one more question.
It's there on Slack.
Okay. Oh, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, rather than question, right? Like it was very exciting to be part of this program. I would thank whoever is organizing. I was thinking I would actually meet Das.
Let me give a big hand to the
Yeah,
organizer.
yeah, it's great, right?
To the volunteer.
We've been seeing posters, right? Like from my childhood, I've seen a Japanese kid working in that, small robot and all that. It was all dream for us, right? Now, if I see this, right, I told my kid that I'm going to learn how to make robots. So I could just show him only the videos today. Maybe I got contact of the guy who told there is a lab. I would take my kid to the lab. It's great. Thanks a lot. And maybe the question is not related to whatever we discussed now here, because the data privacy thing came up. I would want to know, like, because industry standard people and people who are visible for a lot of from a high end. I wanted to post this question here. I think Google stores every search that is made, and they make money out of what an individual's interests are, right? So they told that in EU and European and US countries, there is an individual who can say Google not to store his digital trace, right? I would like to know, like, what kind of work is happening in Indian government to protect
Our data.
protect citizens' interests, because I would tell that openly, right? Like when I logged into this Play Store, it just thought my manager's photograph. Told me your manager likes this. Say for example, Satish. Hell should I know Satish installed what application? If I know Satish installed this application, you're going to tell the entire world that I installed the other application. Why would anybody know what application is installed in my phone, right? So there is no protection for individuals. Do we know, like, anybody who has come across the work that is happening in Indian government that says Google don't use my citizens' data? And to everybody, right? China has a rule that any data center which stores Chinese data should not be out of this Chinese land. So, just like to know if anyone has any idea on this.
Any volunteers?
Okay, I won't be able to answer this question either. But there are ways you can prevent, you can do this anonymous stuff, right? There are a lot of people who never log into, you have options at different levels to do this. They use anonymous servers to serve and things like that if they are very, very. Yeah. Okay, there is an opportunity, right?
If everyone's interested, it's okay, sir. No.
So we can
Continue.
Yeah, we're not going to stop. So if you have questions, this is your chance. Yeah.
It's not a question actually. Hello, my name is Vignesh. It's not a question actually. I was surfing in my mobile to answer his question. He was asking about the agriculture and smart city. Few months back, I was in Facebook interaction with Mr. Das sir regarding the IoT with sports. Since I have been associated to sports field, so that time he suggested me a platform called KA Open Source IoT platform. So if you register your mail ID in that, you will be regularly getting updates of not only sports, agriculture, logistics. They are doing many projects in that. So you can get in touch with them and your issues will be solved. Thanks.
Okay, so somebody wants to talk about. You have a question?
No.
Your
Okay,
statement?
just a suggestion. So we can have an WhatsApp group or a Telegram group for this IoT, so that we can share our ideas.
So you stole my next question. There is a Slack group.
Slack group.
Yeah, so it's actually better than WhatsApp or this thing because it's not a single threaded conversation. You can have multiple channels for different products. So you want to talk about it? Who wants to talk about the Slack group? Do you want to talk?
We do have a Slack group for IoT Geeks actually. You might have to first install Slack because most people are not familiar with Slack. I'm not sure. But there are like different channels for Slack group in IoT Geeks. We have like agriculture, we have hackathons, we have for medical devices also. We do have separate channels. So if you guys have any questions, please post there. There are like not only from people from India, there are people from even other countries who are working in IoT field. Will surely help you. So there are usually questions which come up in the Slack groups. So we are giving you a pass, right? So in the back of the pass, the link is given. So you can just go into links.
Right, you have to send a request to be.
Yeah, we have to send a request and we'll accept all the requests. Nothing else. And the Slack will actually be very useful because we get to learn a lot of things from Slack rather than WhatsApp. WhatsApp group, at once you can see the message and then it just goes off. But in Slack, everything gets stored. You can pin the post and you can refer it again. And it's not only in India. You have people from other different countries who are actually working in IoT fields.
There is no limits of number of members in Slack group.
Yes.
That's the main advantage. So experts from various fields will be in the various channels which we have mentioned.
Yeah. So we do have a lot of editors also who are working in IoT, only IoTs. So I did contact one editor. They are saying that like we just Slack is the only thing you can work quite professionally. Because we even tried WhatsApp, it was not working that good. So we just quit that. Because the first one was WhatsApp actually.
So the nice thing about Slack is I use it for literally every project that I work on, including some of the initiatives I do for colleges and all that. You can do DM, like you can speak to a person, one-on-one conversation. You can set up channels where a bunch of people, you can set up a private channel, only invite 3 people and then only 3 or 4 of them will be having conversations. You can set up a public channel which is everybody can discover and then come and have conversations. And then you have a general and random channel which goes to everybody else. The nice thing is that different levels of hierarchies of discussions, which is not possible in Facebook, it's not possible in WhatsApp or Telegram kind of thing. So I find it to be really, really fun. And you can also have a Slack client, desktop client if you are on a PC. It will send you alerts. So I even know when somebody is posting something. If you want to receive alerts, you can do it. If you can turn off alerts, in which case you'll get an email saying that your Slack activity is this, and it's really, really powerful. Give it to him. Very powerful. So that is
There are 2 other things I want to mention before we'll do the wrap up, whatever. First thing is that how many of you know about Chennai Geeks? Okay, 3 people. Okay, just like IoT Geeks, there is something called Chennai Geeks, which is not just for IoT, but for any technology stuff. So you can become a member of Chennai Geeks. We have about 10,000 plus members. Surprisingly, it's funny that I mentioned it. Chennai Geeks was formed at ThoughtWorks about 8 or 9 years ago. Not this location, they were not here at this time. They were in another small building somewhere near Katipura Junction side. They were in a much smaller building, and we had some development, some on-conference kind of thing, and then a bunch of us decided that we'll start Chennai Geeks, and it's been running. Somebody else, right now, Magesh is very actively running all the things. So if you are interested in outside IoT like JavaScript or Java or Python or PHP or any of those kinds of things, and you have technical questions, you can join Chennai Geeks. And the only thing we don't allow there are porn and advertisements about your companies or job postings. For that, there is another one called Chennai Tech Jobs. So that's a group. There is another second group I want to mention is called Chennai Open Coffee Club. Right now, they have a monthly event. It happens at the Startup Center. Vijayanand runs it. And this is basically for what are called entrepreneurs and wanapreneurs, people who want to be entrepreneurs. They meet once a month and talk about all issues of entrepreneurs. To do sales, and all how to get funding, all those topics. So I think a lot of good, interesting discussions happen there. We used to be actually meeting in coffee shops. We got thrown out of every coffee shop in Chennai, so we finally went to an office because there are like 100 people will show up and 20 people will drink coffee. The coffee shop will lose business, so they said get out of this place. And so they've done it. It has been like small units, like 5 people to 50 people. We met in lots of different places. So these are the two groups. And then, of course, IoT, you're all there as part of it. So let us continue the spirit of asking questions and getting answers. Join the Slack and continue the conversation. And I think I'll pass it on for wrap up.
So ThoughtWorks organizes Geek Nights on every last Thursday of every month. So this week's theme is again IoT. So yeah, it would be I think 28 September. So if you guys want to attend, please do. So it will always happen at the last Thursday of every month. So that's again a technology focused event where there would be 3 tracks and 3 different talks, and it happens it starts at around 5:30 and is at like 8-9, and we serve a good dinner also after that. So yes, you can attend that also. It's open for the community. Yep, that's it.
They've been running it for 2 years, right?
Yes.
Thank you for the time, sir, Balaji sir and Dorai sir, and this accommodates so many people. And we do have a small gift for Balaji sir and Dorai sir. A small gift. Okay. So really honored for Balaji sir to be here today. Already printed. And next for Dorai sir.
How technology can
No,
be
last minute gift we actually thought of making DIY. And I would wrap up today's workshop. And next will be group photo. Yes, sir. Group photo. So everybody can come forward and stand here if it's possible to accommodate that. But you go back.
செட் பண்ணிட்டு டைம் செட் பண்ணிடுங்க.
Just take. Just line up here.
இங்கே பாரு
FB live, streaming live. So morning streaming live. You guys guys, please, we'll take a small photo. One photo. Please, one more. One more.
Flash shading.
Well, before you all leave, I would request you all to share your feedbacks. I have some sticky notes here, and here's a feedback wall. You just need to write your feedbacks and just paste it on that chart over there. I'll share you this sticky notes. Just please have some pens are also here. Just share your feedback, please.
Record.